I think having kids is the definition of love and loss, even when you're around, just because there is no keeping it. There is no slowing it down. Um, yeah, you love them and lose them at the same time. What is the biggest lesson I've learned from love? Was that it?
That's it.
Man,
Hey, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Love, Loss, and Hallucinations, where we start with the themes around those three words and just see where the conversation takes us. Be sure to like, share, comment on this podcast if any of it resonates with you, all the good things. I am Scott Shoemaker, and I am here today with a very special guest, Max Rayner. Max is the lead singer and also songwriter for the indie rock / folk band Wilderado. And it is actually Wilderado's song Surefire that I'm using for the intro and outro of this show. He lives in Tulsa, Oklahoma with a wife and two beautiful daughters. And just full disclosure before we kind of get into this, I have worked with Max since I think 2018, 2017, something like that.
I think it is 2018 when we put out that Favors EP, right?
Yeah, the Favors EP through Bright Antenna Records. And, I've gotten to know and watch him and his music grow over these last 7 years. And excited to have a deeper conversation about all sorts of good things today. So welcome, Max.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's been fun getting to know you guys personally. I mean, it's wild that I can just see I know where you are in your house.
Yes, you have spent nights here.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, I love that you're doing this. I've always loved our conversations in general, so thanks for having me along.
Yeah. Thanks for being up for it all. And I think, just to start off here, I wouldn't call it necessarily cliche, but I'm just going to jump in by stealing a question from William Miller that he asked Russell Hammond at the end of Almost Famous. And that is, what do you love about music?
Wow. I love that theme. I love that film.
Yeah.
My favorite thing about that film is when he says, "Tell her we wish she was around like last summer." Remember that part?
Which part is that? Remind me.
He's talking about, it's like right after they played a show. It's really early on when the little rider's on board with them, and they're talking about Penny Lane. And they kind of talk about, you know each other. You're gonna see her. We'll tell her that we said we wish she was around like last summer.
Right. Yeah. He's talking to William, and
totally.
Yeah.
Like last summer always resonated with me.
Why is that, do you think?
Just because I love easy lines like that like instantly make you think of something. Like, I mean, dude, for me, sorry this isn't answering your question at all,
but we'll get there.
For me, it was growing up was all about how do I get out of school. And so like this idea of I mean, yeah, I longed for nothing more than last summer and that summer. So I just love that that was the way he wanted to tell that. She wishes she was around. But what do I love about music? I mean, it depends on what day it is. I love that. I love that it doesn't have to involve language. He's speaking the same language. I like that you could sit and listen to a piece of music with anybody and both be underneath the same feeling or the same thing, I guess. I love music because it's something that I hear. It's like I know everyone has their own thing, but it's always just been such a big part of my ears, I guess. I mean, I just grew up around it and watching it, listening to it, and thinking within it. So music is an interesting thing to me. Is I don't really think of it as a thing. It's more like, so like, what do you think about life? I guess it's like I hate music. I love music. You know what I mean? It's everything in a way.
Music is life.
I mean, it's definitely a facet of it, a big
Yeah.
facet.
Um, and I'm curious. You said that you grew up around music. Is there a distinct moment when you were like, "Oh wow, like this is where I need to take my life and make it my life," that you can remember, or is it just always sort of like in the back of your mind?
There's never been that much direction, especially in terms of pursuit. I can definitely remember moments just being critically moved by it and appreciating it, I guess, or being like thinking of it as something that was happening rather than a passive moment. That was happening very early for me.
Do you
My
have a
mom,
story about one of those moments?
yeah, several. I mean, a lot of it involves my mom and watching her sing in church
Ah,
because church was a big part of our upbringing, and just music in general for me was, all my first musical experiences were at church.
mm.
Uh, but I also remember, I remember hating music as much as anything else too, because I was forced to take piano lessons. So the music, it was just like I guess I've already said, I resented it so much. I hated practicing piano. Uh, It's really wild right now because my 5-year-old is taking piano at the same place that I did,
Oh wow.
and she's exactly the same. I mean, she'll bark at you and run away, and then she'll sit at the piano, just boom, 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 hammer out exactly what she needs to do, and peace out. You know what I mean?
I'm done.
It's nothing more than what she had to do that day. But then there will be moments where you'll walk through the living room and she's playing a little song she heard on the radio and tapping out the melody on the piano, and
She's just figured it out by herself.
yeah, and you realize like, oh man, this is a living thing in your little ears as well. um it was a lot like that. It was back and forth. It was like it was a requirement, and then it was also like this, kind of incognito love affair,
Mm.
I guess.
Mm.
But I remember watching it move my mom, and watching it. She was really beautiful at it. At singing. She has a lovely voice, and so it was interesting watching her kind of transcend in a way to something else when she would sing.
Do you feel like it was a desire on some level of like seeing her be moved and transcend and being like, oh, I want to experience that?
Um, I think it was maybe more so while it was happening, or when it was first happening, I recognized it as, oh, that's where I am. I'm
Mm.
I'm in that place I've seen my mom go to. Uh, and I guess just having gratitude for the fact that like I was lucky enough to be able to enter that world as well.
And that also happened at a young age.
Yeah, and then I remember a time, I was lucky enough to have a piano in our house. So uh, I remember a time going up. I hadn't played piano in a long time, so I convinced them to let me stop. And I was kind of playing drums. Uh, and one day I went back and sat at the piano, and there was a piece of sheet music on there, and I could just play the chords,
Mm.
and it had the words on there, and I knew the song from church, and so I played the chords and sang the song, and I'd never done that before. I'd never played and sang at the same time, and it was a remarkable experience to me. And please hear me say, not because it was good. It it just felt like I was alone with something else, and
Mm.
if it just was so, it just felt so it just felt so lovely to me. I was very, very moved by it, if I'm being honest.
Mm. Well,
Hmm.
and on that level, I mean, it certainly sounds like it was a transcendent moment for you, but not. And I would put out there that not only is it just, it's the music and the singing, but it's like, us as humans, we've been making sound and music and communicating with each other and uh, whatever around us with beats and sounds and this sort of melodies since, time immortal, really. So on some level, there's probably some part of you that's connecting to that as well.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's such like a clear avenue to it.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean that it really is remarkable, isn't it? That like why is that something that's always been around? And I think it's because it's been around as long as we have.
Yeah.
I think of it, it's some version of whatever a life force is, uh, and it was speaking to us before we were aware that it was speaking to us, and then eventually we started figuring out how to speak back to it,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of where you go, I think, 'cause whenever you have those moments of nothing else matters, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Of
Hmm.
all, so in a moment of musical bliss that it feels like you've forgotten whatever was happening before. It's like it really becomes this interesting kind of life force that you're interacting with, which is really wild.
Sort of like an alternate reality within whatever else might be going on that you sort of find yourself getting sucked into or
Correct.
joining.
And that, I mean, I think even if you didn't grow up in church, I think I think most people have had an experience at a show
Hmm.
watching someone go there, and
Hmm.
it is kind of intoxicating to even see someone else do it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, that's part of the magic, I think, for sure. And as well as like feeling like, there's the essence of being connected to the crowd around you, being connected to the person on stage having the experience, and feeling like you're in some small way experiencing it with the performer.
Yeah, and then you can when multiple people go to the same place, that's when it kind of levels up a little bit.
I am sure. I mean, I'm just curious, like, how often are you able to get to that place when you're playing on stage?
Not often.
Not as often as you'd like. I'm
No,
guessing.
that's not true. Yeah, not as often as you would like. It really depends on a lot. Um, Now I'll say I usually get there like there I'll usually get there at some point in every show. And I
Mm,
think like I would love for that to be the whole show though, you know what I mean? It's
yeah,
but it's you start becoming burdened with so much reality that it really tries to distract you from the reason you're there.
yeah.
Huge surprise, right?
You have a lot going on and that you have to think about up there on the stage
Well, it's like
beyond.
I
Uh,
guess I mean just like everything else. I'm just like how often do you just walk around thinking about how in love you are?
not
Uh,
as much as I'd like, that's for sure.
Very much are, and
Yeah.
it's everything is just distraction. But when I'm not distracted and I do a good job of just allowing myself to only be in that song
Mm.
at that time, then that's usually when I'm there.
So it sounds like it's a matter of really just being present and like being fully present in that moment in that song.
It gets annoying how often that is just it
how
all
it
blends.
how it keeps coming up in all facets of life.
I mean, straight up, there's one thing to do and none of us can do it.
Yeah, exactly. There's one thing to do, and none of us can do it. Just stay freaking present.
Yeah, it's true. It feels true.
It sure does. I'm so. What do you feel? I'm wondering. What do you feel music has taught you about love, or is it more that music is a place where you go to express what you have learned about love?
I think it more teaches me
Mm.
things.
Oh, really?
And I like, just as a blanket statement, we're here to go there with all of these thoughts, right? I mean,
Yep.
as a person, I don't really drive around thinking about like music as pixies and and magic.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what this conversation is for, to allow it to become as meta as we
Yes, it
want.
is. Yep.
Um, the amount of times I will write something and not know what I mean by it, and then continue down that idea and be taught by it is, it happens a lot, to be honest.
Wow.
And I find a real sense of humility from that, because I usually tend to think all of the songs that I've written that I love, I kind of had nothing to do with. I would openly admit that I didn't write that on purpose. Do you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
more an accident, or more something that I heard in melody or in a consonant. Just like it's like, what is it called? Phonics. It's like, it's mostly phonetic, and then I'll look, and lots of times will it not only be like, oh wow, this is interesting to me, but it'll also be like, wow, I need to hear that. And
Mm.
I hope I find a way to apply that.
Is there an example that comes to mind with one of your songs where that happened and how it happened?
Yeah, let me think. I mean, we have a song on Talker that we just put out called Tomorrow. At the very end of it, it says, what if tomorrow is coming today? And I love that line, because I feel like that kind of describes present mindedness to me.
Mm.
Is I worry so much about tomorrow. I specifically worry so much about tomorrow, but it's like, there is no such thing as tomorrow, right? I mean, that's what's so weird. And I put all of my anxieties there, when really there's literally is just right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you had no intention of like writing that line and it just sort
That
of
is not
fell
something.
up.
Yeah, that is not something I felt like I needed to share with the universe. That just that was just there.
Wow. Wow.
Um, I mean, one funny one is in Rubble to Rubble.
Mm.
We were not pregnant with a baby when I wrote that.
I don't
No.
think a lot of people know that. So
Yeah, sorry. I think, and then I don't even, I was only thinking about what would make me become more selfless, or selfless in general. And all that had happened was I had met Natalia, my wife. And I think I had, just encountered like kind of my purest and closest version of love.
mm. Mm-hmm.
And it was leading me into, wanting to think about myself less. And I think I was just that, that idea of like, well, what if we have a baby? What if there was more to this? What would be the things that make me, uh, become more and more selfless?
So has that proven itself to be true? Have you found yourself to be less? I'm guessing I know the answer to this, but yeah, go ahead.
It's yes and no, right?
Oh, yeah.
uh, I've continued in my selfish ways, and in different avenues, but I think selfishness is something you have to like freaking wrestle every day. It's not like you beat it yesterday and wake up without it. But
Yeah.
if I haven't changed myself from the moment I met her,
Mm-hmm.
I really, really have. I'm probably one of the things I'm most proud of in my entire life is not only falling in love with her, but really dedicating to continue to fall in love with her. And it's like,
Mm.
because half of it is helpless, and it just happens. It's subconscious. I'm drawn to her, but there's another half of it that is just abiding by the fact that like the best parts of myself love Natalia. You know what I
Mm.
mean? And choosing to really like do whatever I can to engage in that Max.
Asking that Max to show up, but
Yeah,
um,
straight up.
yeah, and well, yeah, and it is a choice, right? Like there's that part, there's the part that's like naturally drawn, but then there's the other part that, you know, you're making a choice every day. Like I want to continue to improve my relationship with this person I care about.
Man, yeah, just choosing the thing that's good for you is wild. It's wild how hard that is to do. I don't really understand that. It's very strange.
Why as humans have such a difficulty doing that, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Um, and how about once you had a child, just to kind of play through rubble to rubble, the pregnancy and then a child, and as far as the selfishness versus selflessness, and
Yeah, it's funny because it's almost like having a kid makes you want to be more selfish, or you is like it, you. I'll tell you what having a kid does is it makes you like you come face to face with your selfishness. You all of a
mm,
sudden are you don't have to wonder about it anymore. You know when it's there and when it's happening. Because just things look so much different when you're thinking about the people around you rather than yourself.
yeah, yeah.
And then a little kid will show you that pretty quickly.
For sure. Well, I don't have kids, but that's what I hear around the block.
Yeah,
uh,
it's not just kids, right? I mean, you understand.
I do. Well, and it's also, I mean, I guess when I say selfishness, there's different kinds. There's like a selfishness where you're just like not paying attention to others around you, and um, that you know you're sort of being selfish to avoid others, perhaps. But then there's also selfishness where it's like you're being introspective, you're looking at yourself, you're like spending time like trying to figure your junk out so then you can show up better for these other people in your life.
Mhm.
So it's like that balance, you know.
Yeah, it's a weird time for that, isn't it? Because it's like one of the most championed things in our culture right now is taking care of yourself.
Yeah,
Which I mean, no one can really make an argument against that. It's like you have to be the best version of yourself to give it to
yeah,
the ones
to show
around you.
up.
Yeah, straight up. But it's also a dangerous. It's a dangerous business.
How so?
Well, I think you can just start. You know, you can. You. I think it's a trick to easily be defined by your desires. And to have it takes a lot of, I think, intuition and consciousness to separate what you desire and what you need and what's right and what's good for you. Because
Yeah,
they can start all looking like the same things.
you can, you know, us humans are very good at justifying our actions as like, oh yeah, I'm taking care of myself when you're really just avoiding.
Yeah, yeah, great
Yeah,
point. Exactly.
yeah. Um, well, on the flip side of love, is in terms of music, I'm wondering, does the same apply with loss as far as uh, you know the music you've created? Is it a place where it's the music is teaching you about loss, or is that a place more where you're like putting your own loss experiences down into the songs?
I'd say the same thing,
Mm,
Scott. I mean, I really, I just am. I don't think I can sit here and tell you that I like have enough whatever it is to just feel something and just verbatim put exactly what I'm wanting to into a song. It's more just. I mean, maybe what I've gotten better at or abide too is just allowing myself to say whatever I'm thinking, I guess, or whatever happens to come up, or allowing yourself to, you know, be sad in a song or talk about love or loss in a song and not worry so much about having to be so or avoiding topics, that sort of thing. But yeah, I really think it all ends up just being like, there's a song probably already exists, I believe, and like either you do the right steps to help reveal it or you
mm,
don't. And lots of times if you do a good job of it. For me personally, that's what I end up learning about stuff or being shown something I guess I needed to be shown.
Yeah, I love that. Just like allowing yourself to be sort of this, a portal, a door, whatever you want to say, for just this song that's somehow already in the ether to come through.
That's how it feels whenever I really dig a tune. That's how it feels. It feels like it was like already there, and you're
Yeah.
kind of like excavating it.
Yeah, I can relate to that on some level with some of the writing I've done, which when it just flows out, you're like, I don't know where that just came from, but
It rules.
yeah, absolutely.
It's
Uh,
also infuriating, right? Because you have more control. I wish I
yeah,
had control over.
or knew how to like open that door on a
I,
in a
I am.
in a way that I can just like go, like I'm gonna get up out of bed, open the door, and it's gonna be there. um, I'm curious, and this could be in either a negative or a positive way. I'm wondering if you feel like you have lost anything or had to lose anything by being in a band.
Mm. I mean, the 1000% answer is yes. I'm just
Mm,
trying to categorize what all I've lost. Um, I mean, I think the most potent for me is I talk about it all the time, but it's just being around the little girls because uh, they just change so fast and like
mm,
they retain their essence and their spirits there, but like 2-year old Milo doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And there was a lot of that little girl that I just didn't see. And
Mm,
same with Millie. I mean, I
because you're on
probably
tour. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, sorry. I probably missed more of Mills than Milo because COVID happened when Milo was little, and so that was kind of awesome in a way. But yeah, mostly just that. I think just being gone is not nothing. When you're gone, you're gone.
Yeah.
And you can FaceTime and all that, but I just can't believe how many things, especially with a child, like a little that like 18-month to 6-year old world, so many things happen a day at
Mm,
that now I watch and think like I can't believe that these happen while I'm gone too, and I don't get to see them or hear them or just witness them in general.
yeah. I mean, I imagine that's got to be like the most intense mix of love and loss when you have to drive away for a tour after you've been home for a while.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's the leaving. It's literally the action of leaving. I think I literally have like some small version of trauma from just because every time you do it straight up feels like a death. And
Mm,
the living out the days apart are one thing, but it's just like the actual, it's like, it's crazy to be with them in the morning on days that I leave and just know I'm going to like, I'm going to put into action leaving
oh,
and, knowing the weight of what that means. Uh, but at the same time, like, I think, I think having kids is the definition of love and loss, even when you're around, just because there is no keeping it. There is no slowing it down. Um, yeah, you love them and lose them at the same time.
because they're transforming into a new human like every other day.
And the goal is for them to you know, leave your fold. Like their goal is for them to have the tools to make their own decisions,
Hmm.
and which looks like they're not living with you forever. Like, yeah, that's not the point. The
Yeah.
point is for them to leave your house and go be their own human beings and then start their own family. So you, yeah, I mean, you're just always on that journey, and it's really weird. I,
Yeah.
I like joke a lot that the definition or the epitome of ignorance is bliss is kids. Like, as soon as you know them. It's over. Like as soon as you meet him, you are in the trenches on the whole losing what you
Mm.
love. Uh, but
Is there any gift that comes from that for
oh
yourself?
man, yeah. To me, it's like that's what all of life is one big preparation for having to say goodbye. And so it's like
Mm.
doing it over and over and over and over again. I think there's a trait you learn that you miss out on if you don't get to, or if you don't find another way to do it. But yeah, I think about that a lot. It's like when I die, it's also going to be a moment, just like right now is, and it's going to be the entirety of everything. My whole life will boil down to that one moment. Will I be grateful and prepared and calm and happy, or will I be fighting my reality?
Yeah.
And I really hope it's not me fighting my reality. But I think that just comes from practicing the present,
Yeah.
practice being present.
Back to practice being present.
I know.
Um,
And it's not even being on tour. It's like the worst parts of tour is just thinking about going on tour. To be honest, I mean, you miss them while you're gone, but also 100 things are happening, and you're sharing all of his really crazy adventures and really powerful moments. And you know,
yeah. Well, and I
yeah.
got to say, like, speaking of powerful moments, like, when you brought your daughters out on stage at Red Rocks, um, see, I mean, I'm getting teary eyed about it right now. That was so beautiful and just magical. And wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how awesome they thought that was too. They especially, I mean, it was fun when they all came, but that little Millie when
Yeah.
she was just there, and you could just she was so brave about that.
Yeah. All by herself out there that first time. Yeah.
That was cool. That was so cool. It was like especially being on support for that show. It's like we didn't do anything to deserve. That was just something that was just happening to us. And
Yeah.
so cool that like she got to share that with me and I got to share that with her. Uh, and both just kind of be there experiencing it in the same way. And
Yeah.
she was four.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, and it's funny because like, at that age, I don't have barely any memories from that age, but I am certain she's going to remember that one.
Guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah, guaranteed. And little kids, I tell you what, they're gonna remember more than we ever did. I mean, they're watching highlight reels on themselves every single day.
This is true.
That's weird.
That is a
The only
good
time I
point.
ever saw myself was in a yearbook, and then and then that was once a year. Maybe you randomly come across some VHS footage or something, but mostly it was you never saw yourself. You don't even remember how weird it was to hear your voice for the first time.
Oh yeah. 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 You're like, no, that's not, no, there's something wrong with the
I
recorder.
know.
That's not me.
Yeah, now they just see themselves all the time. It's weird.
I haven't thought about that. Wow.
But surely that's going to impact their memory.
Either making it better or worse. I'm not sure which. I don't have
Have
to
to.
remember. It's right there.
Yeah, it has to be better because it's like they're living the same moment twice. It's like not a
Mm,
lot of stuff is passing them by. If you're filming, and they do something funny, and you guys all watch it together later. Guaranteed, they have a better chance of
yeah.
remembering that than if they didn't.
Hitting the synapses multiple times. And as children, they're going to watch it at least 100 times if it's entertaining.
Yeah,
um, so Tiffany wanted me to ask you a question, actually, Tiffany, my wife.
love
And
that.
she wanted, and maybe we've sort of already touched on this, but she sort of asked in a different way. And that is, what is the biggest lesson you've learned from love or about love?
God.
She always asks the small questions.
Yeah. Super chill question. What is the biggest lesson I've learned from love? Was that it?
That's it.
Man, maybe there's a difference between the way you want to love somebody and the way they receive it. That that
Mm,
that has been I'm not sure I know what the lesson is there, but that has been something that I've had to really abide by. It's like uh, there are three women that live at my house, and they all like to be shown love in different ways. And I like to show love in a certain and natural, I have a natural way of it, but it's not always what they want or
Mm,
need. It's very easy to send, you know, both people sending love over each other's heads at the same time, I think is an occurrence that happens more than all of us realize. And it's really interesting, isn't it? Because it's like you start to break that down and wonder, like, so then what is it exactly that you're sending?
mm,
Isn't it weird to know like that I could have just I could have this sense of appreciation for you that I want to give you, and it can miss, and then that hurts me. So it's like, well, where was, you know what I'm saying? What was what was this altruistic to start out with, or um, so I think I'm starting, one thing I have learned is like what you think is love might not always be. And usually what real love is what the other person needs and not so much what you want to give, I
right.
guess. If that that's
Which comes down to, I think, each person, needing to learn or be able to be, open and vulnerable and share what they need for that love, from the other person, which is another thing I don't think often happens, especially in like early relationships. I
Well, yeah,
think,
it's funny because that in and of itself is giving the correct love to the other person. Like, you don't want to have to sit down and tell somebody what you need, but by giving that to them, it gives them a tool to know how to love you back.
right. Yeah. Yeah. A gift to both of you.
Yeah, surprise! Keeps on giving us like the Jelly of the Month Club.
Jelly of the month. um, well, and I'm curious if there's like, we've kind of touched on love within, your family, your wife, your kids. Do you feel like there's a different kind of love within the band with Tyler and Justin, and how that's expressed?
How is expressed, like communicated?
Well, just, is it a different sense of, uh, I guess the energy that maybe you guys share towards each other?
It's never been romantic,
Yeah,
but no,
that's
but it has been. I think there are similar bones to it in terms of so much. I think so much of what's beautiful about a marriage is it's this shared experience. I think shared experience is like way undervalued. It
mm,
is so, there's not very many people that just you share a very intimate thing with over and over and over and over again. Your partner you do every day, and hopefully in more ways than one. And with the guys and I, like we've shared so many really intricate experiences with each other, from fear
mm,
to actual love for one another, you know, moments of actually, communicating love to one of each other, to each other, or excitement, nerves, surprise. Like it's like, and all about the same thing. I mean, you know what I mean? Back to a partner. It's like so much of your shared experiences is your children, or your life, or your house, or your income, or whatever it may be. These things that are both of y'all's. And
mm,
interesting about band and our band is like, the shared experience is really around the same thing that we all have the same ownership of. And that's just kind of like, lots of times I do not envy the experience whatsoever, uh, or maybe even support it. I'm not sure, but I don't know what I'm saying. Well, all I'm going to say is I don't ever want to go to war,
mm.
but sometimes I envy the friendships that come out of that.
Yeah.
You these people that like, oh man, it is wild. You see some of these pictures of World War II, or these guys like with their arms around each other, or even now, current day, and just thinking like, damn, the just shared experience and love they must have for each other because of the state that they're in
Yeah.
is
The intensity of the experience and
yeah, it's
the
a
deep
power.
bond. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things we come out of life treasuring the most. So um,
Yeah, it certainly feels like, just that whole shared experience and connection and community, and it's certainly something that it feels like a lot of people are having a harder time with, despite all the social media stuff and all that sort of thing. And, um, you know, and I feel it applies to both genders, but I do feel like there's something around, it is harder for men in general, to like foster that. And, I feel like that 80% of suicides are men and boys speaks to that, lack of being able to connect and have shared experiences. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm just like, wow, what an incredible thing you three have.
it, and I know, I don't, I think if they were here right now, it wouldn't take much for us all to realize that, like, when we decide to stop doing this, that'll be the thing we no longer have.
Mm,
We'll all three have music for forever, and some version of sharing it. All you have to do is listen to a song with your buddy or your kid in the car,
yeah.
and you're kind of there. But yeah, the commonality, man, the on being on a team, the same page, dude. That like you're right. There's such a missing component that to that in our culture right now. And I mean, it could be the literal backbone of our divisiveness is just you cannot see eye to eye with somebody who you don't have a shared experience with. It's just, I mean, all of our opinions are a lack of shared experience. We don't we don't stand a chance to see things the same way. We don't
Mm,
see the same things.
yeah. Oh, I love that. All of our uh, opinions are a lack of shared experience. I mean,
It has
that
to
that
be.
hits it right on the head, really.
Yeah, but that's something and we just really take care of it. You know what I mean? I know that that's what we've fostered the most of in Wilderado is the fact that, like, that's the most precious thing going is uh the experience we share and all the things that come from that, the benefit of the doubt, the love, the patience. It like, it all comes from whatever that well is, and if it's not being filled up, then things fall apart really fast.
Mm,
We've done a better job in 25 than we ever have of just being together when we're not on the road.
mm,
A lot of that is because of y'all, to tell you the truth, but just getting together on a, as many times a week as we can without like, what are we doing today, but more just like, we're working on things, we're being together is what we're doing, and when you get together, you hopefully something comes from it. But it's been really nice, and it kind of makes me excited about, the next record process and this next tour, and just because I think we've built up a lot of good time of just being with each other, to where frustrations and exhaustion and all those things have a much safer place to go.
yeah. You've, I imagine, have seen like the best and worst of each other and worked through it, and it's stronger because of it.
Yeah, it's wild how, yeah. I mean, for example, it's someone can lose their temper, and uh, we all know they lost their temper. That's simply it. It's not, they're an asshole now.
Yeah. It's not a personal thing. It's just like person just lost their temper. And we'll
Yeah.
we'll let it
They'll
cool
find,
out and
they'll
move
find
forward.
it. Yeah, totally.
um, Curious. One more question about loss. Well, at least for now. Um, has there been a loss in your life that uh, changed the trajectory of your life?
Uh, yeah, it's hard. I kind of think everything changes the trajectories of our life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have had, I think on paper, I've been quite lucky
Hmm.
on my losses in terms of death. Is that mostly what you think of, or when you
Well,
think of
yeah, I
music?
mean that's the immediate go to for sure. But a loss could be a loss of identity. It could be, as you were mentioning earlier, your children changing every day and losing what they were at 2. Um, it could be losing your keys, and somehow that brings you to some place that you wouldn't have been otherwise.
Well, yeah, I've had lots of uh, beautiful relationships that don't exist anymore,
Hmm.
and I think those have impacted me more than anything. Uh, I and then I, I was gonna my senior year of college, I was gonna be my sibling Sunday was gonna move to. We were both gonna move to Waco. She was gonna come to Waco, and then we were gonna go to Austin, Texas, and that plan ended up falling through. And I think the loss of that was probably the biggest transition in my life because for no moment in my life had I ever planned to go to Los Angeles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had never thought about the city of LA in my life other than, you know, like, for some reason I just got the image of Chris Farley and what is that where he's like a ninja in Hollywood?
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I mean, that,
I think it's just a skit on Saturday Night Live, but yeah.
that was about the farthest I'd ever thought of LA. But when that change happened and I ended up following them out there, I mean
You
that
mean Tyler and Justin and
Sunday, my
oh
sibling
Sunday? Oh, you followed Sunday, went to LA instead. I gotcha.
that was that was probably hands down the most impactful transition of my life because everything else kind of came out of that. There are two massive branch formed.
Wow.
Um, so there's some loss. So there's some I guess I've never really thought about it much before, but like yeah, there's a whole different reality that exists that I'll never have any sort of interaction with.
Yeah, which in
Uh,
some strange way led to us sitting here talking over this over over the interwaves.
In no small way, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Same with me. Both my kids wouldn't exist. I would have never met Natalia.
Right.
I would not
Because
be doing this. I promise. I think the music journey would have come to a very quick end for me, and I'd just gone straight to work.
wow.
But so that's interesting. And then I had a good friend in high school that drowned, and
Mm.
that was really gnarly. And I don't know if I was actually talking to my brother about this. I don't know if I ever really or at least in that moment kind of knew the like severity of that. He was a grade older than me and had left for college and he there was a big rain up in Arkansas and decided to kayak a huge flood and
Wow.
drown. And I woke up one morning and my mom told me, I don't think my mom knew we were as close as we were.
Uh-huh.
And so I just kind of got told that he had drowned. And then this is actually kind of wild. I went to school that day and our principal asked me if I would give basically a freaking eulogy at an assembly that day.
That day.
Yeah. So like no
Wow.
prep. Um, I remember standing in front of my whole entire school and talking about I didn't what the hell you say. So I actually went up there and just started crying. It was really gnarly, and I was I was standing there. You know how like when you're crying and you're supposed to be talking, it's like either little squeaks come out or absolutely
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere in between little squeaks and mute. And I'll never forget as long as I live. This kid named this person named Taylor Friesenhahn. And it's wild that I knew it was him. I just recognized his voice. He just hollered out, "You can do it, Max. You got it, Max." And just like hollered it out in front of the whole entire school.
Wow.
And he was right. It was like I was able to tap into some amount of being comfortable in front of all of those people and just, saying whatever it was that I said. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that I think about that moment as much as almost any other moment in my life, because for some reason, and maybe not much would have changed, but him having the gall to just be like, I'm just gonna straight up encourage this dude and tell him he could do it. It was pretty sick. It went like it really empowered me instantly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that whole thing was really
Wow.
wild. But yeah, I'm not sure like how much I've ever really dealt with that, or I was young,
Mm-hmm.
but I
Yeah.
lost my grandpa. My grandpa and I were really, really close.
Ah.
And that was interesting. It still is interesting. I think he, more than anybody, man, it's really cool. You can't see it right now, but we've got like a storm's coming through, and I've got this set of clouds that are like rolling through on my property, like low and thick enough that I can see past the door.
I could see it.
Yeah, yeah.
I can definitely see it.
I will say, he is the person that all the time I think like I wish I could tell this to, or I would, man, if he could meet Milo and,
Oh.
and like or watch Millie Reed, or that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think the huge loss for me is not getting to experience my kids with my grandpa, because he just would have freaking loved them. I mean, it would have.
That is so
He wouldn't
sweet.
handle it. How much he loved him. And
Oh,
same with my wife. He never. I mean, he was he wasn't all there when Nat was around. So
who was that?
when Natalia was around, when I
Okay, I
finally
gotcha.
sorry, yeah, Nat.
Yeah.
When I finally brought, when we were, when she started coming to Tulsa with me, he was already pretty senile. He would be sitting there and he'd say, we'd kind of sit on this bench and he would just stare at nothing. And
Mhm.
then he'd say, and we'd be in a nursing home, and he'd go, "All right, well, I gotta take all these horses back in because it's about time for the day to end. It's getting dark. I need to kind of pat me. He'd always call me old buddy, pat me on my lap. All right, old buddy, I gotta take the horses back in."
Oh.
And I'd walk, and I'd just be like, "Holy shit, we're like
Wow.
on a different plane of the universe, and we're sitting on the same bench."
Did that like experience, do you feel did you I guess, what did it teach you? Anything about life or love or loss for that matter?
Uh, I mean, it's a bit brazen, but it doesn't end fairly, and
Yeah.
you don't you don't get a whole list of options of how you go out. Uh, luckily for him, I guess he went out thinking he was around his horses like he was when he was a little boy, which is pretty sick.
Yeah. That's kind of special.
But he also went out with the complete loss of his mind and the loss of memory, and so it's like I think that taught me that, like, I mean, what do you think it taught me? It just like everything just goes fast. And you like
Yeah.
it was right back to the old number one rule.
Yep.
But
Be present, appreciate it, be grateful for it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Um, as we get down to last couple minutes here, I did want to ask one sort of hallucination question, and not necessarily. I don't necessarily if you have something around, what people normally go to when they say the word hallucination. That's great, but hallucination can also be like a vision or an unfounded or mistaken impression that you have about something. So, looking back at when you were just starting as a musician and starting a band or being starting bands, like, is there any what like hallucinations, quote unquote, did you have then about what it would be like to be a musician?
I mean, the our expectations might as well have been one massive hallucination. Yeah, I mean, just straight up. I think there's something really kind of tender about this to me now.
Mm.
But like, dude, I can remember listening to when we made Morning Light and no one else in the world had heard it, or jamming to Dogs, or I mean, these first songs, listening to them by ourselves before they had any interaction with the world. I mean, solely based off of the way they made us feel, it
Mm.
was like, this is going to be global. Like how could the joy and the excitement this is giving us not be a global phenomenon? uh, and then you quickly realize that, just like, bad news, brother. No one gives a shit. Like, you gotta go out. There's more music out there than you can ever imagine. What you gotta do is you gotta convince people, and you gotta, So that was I think we were engaged in some sort of hallucination up there. But it's one I want to trade for the world,
Mm.
because there were some nights of just, and it didn't matter. Like, it was what we loved wasn't the possibility of what it could become. What we loved, what it was.
Yeah.
And still is to us. Like, it was. These are our songs. I mean, it's like, can you imagine the feeling that you got from listening to Motorcycle Drive By in high school? Like, now you're having that feeling with something that you made. And I think there was some amount of just absolute levity there, where we were just, hovering over the floor in some of those
Mm.
moments.
That's awesome. Do you still get that a little bit with new songs now, or before it gets
Uh,
out there?
I think there is some, that it's not all gone for sure, but nothing's as sweet as the first time and the first couple times. But it's a new thing, and I think I love it just as much, because maybe now it's more maybe now it's more just kind of these appreciation of the special time of knowing that, like, I mean, based on what we do is we make songs that we put them out. That's part of the whole process and purpose. So before they're heard by anyone else, it's a really, I find a specialness in that still,
Yeah,
of
almost a little sacred time of it's
being alone
just
with
you
the
and the
song.
creation.
Yeah, and I think lots of times it makes me hesitant to get the ball rolling. Uh, but Yeah, those first moments up in that canyon were pretty cool.
Hmm. Well, yeah, it's been a road from that to playing in front of thousands of people at festivals and Red Rocks and other amazing places. So
No,
you guys have put in a lot of, as someone who's behind the scenes watching it, you guys have put in a ton of work, and like, it's not easy. People don't realize. I think the general public has a hallucination about what it takes and what is happening and overnight success and all of that sort of thing. So, um, you know,
yeah,
hats
it's like,
off to you guys.
well, I appreciate that, Scott. Uh, it is crazy. I don't do it ever. Randomly I'll have friends that come through and play, but it's not like I go to shows a lot in Tulsa. But when I do, when you see a touring band, it's so wild to see them on stage for that moment, knowing what a small moment it is and
Hmm.
how short it is and how long the rest of the day is. And the so it feels good when people appreciate that and show you a little bit of respect for it because it is just it's a hell of a thing, I'm not gonna lie. But it's so cool. And like I think we're just we're in it because of the appreciation of what a like it's such a fleeting thing. We just know we're not gonna get to do this for forever and also out of respect for the fact that like so many people don't get to do it. And
Mm.
I feel like this small amount of um you know I feel I don't want to it's not a pressure or a burden, it's like it's a responsibility in a little bit of a way that like somehow the universe has opened us up to this chance of getting to share our songs. And so I think I feel some amount of responsibility to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great spot to leave on here, to finish on here, unless you have anything else around any of these topics that have come up that you might want to share. We're good for the moment.
No, man. I mean, I would love an opportunity just to say how much we appreciate you guys and Tiffany specifically, and believing in us and involving us, and I think, especially being in this moment we're in now with y'all, it's like, what we kept coming back to is just we love the process of working with y'all, and
Mm,
because what it looks like is just respect, and you guys have this ability to kind of like take care of us and show us as artists that like you love us and our families, and
we absolutely do.
that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing. And so yeah, I just feel grateful that we get to experience it with y'all, and that you involve us and think about us and care about us. It goes a long way.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. And it's definitely mutual. So
Right on.
um, thanks again for joining us here today. And you can find Wilderado on Instagram, website, all the things. When this comes out, they'll probably be on tour with the Head and the Heart, actually. So go look up those shows and buy whatever tickets might be left because it'll be worth it. And yeah, till next time, Max. Thanks again.
All right, my dude. Talk to you later.